Valorant is out in the closed beta, and many players from all different game titles have been finally getting their hands on that closed beta key.
I see something.
From the salt mines of League of Legends to the rushing rage of CSGO, everyone has their eyes on Riot's new shooter. With more and more people coming in, I've been noticing players making the same mistakes over and over again. I want to point out these things I've been seeing so you can improve your gameplay and not be at the bottom of the scoreboard. So let's pack up our guns, rev up the Odin, and leave the spike back at spawn and go over the top 10 new mistakes that you might be making in Valorant. Shooting is important in any game.
They really struggle.
What? To shoot, you move this thingy at the enemy and then press this thingy to fire. But what if I told you that most of y'all are shooting wrong? Headshots are important in any shooter, and Valorant is no exception. A good shot to the head can send someone right into spectating their teammate. So with this in mind, why are you pointing your crosshair at the floor or at the chest? Crosshair placement is one of the biggest things that players don't keep into account when playing Valorant. I mean, it sounds dumb at first. Just move the crosshair when the enemy appears on your screen, right? Wrong! Valorant's gameplay is similar to one of CSGO and Rainbow Six Siege. It's a slower-paced tactical shooter that favors movement and positioning rather than running and gunning. You know what they won't expect? Turn around. Flick shots look flashy, but aren't reliable in these games. So instead, skilled players place their crosshair to where the enemy will be at, and more importantly, at their head. By keeping your aim steady, you'll be able to more reliably take out your opponent as your crosshair is already in position to frag. Always train yourself to have your crosshair at head position, and as you get better at the game, you'll instinctively adjust your aim to compensate for height differences where enemies could potentially be. In Valorant, all characters are the same exact height, which is something Riot did on purpose to encourage this type of skill. Oh my god. With this in mind though, there is a certain gun where you don't want to be pointing at the head, and that would be the operator. No, that's the op. I meant the operator. That's just the same item from TF2. There we go. One down. You want to be pointing at center of mass, where one shot can take them out easily. Once you master your crosshair positioning, you are bound to get a lot more frags, so do practice this. The best way to practice this is to constantly remind yourself to move your crosshair in the correct position where their head will be. What is your crosshair placement? With that out of the way, let's go over the next mistake that I see quite a lot in Valorant. Yeah! Go. No, you don't have time. Suck my god! The rules of winning a round in Valorant are simple. The attackers win if they eliminate the entire defending team, or if they plant the spike and prevent the defenders from defusing it before the time runs out. Defenders, on the other hand, win if they eliminate the entire attacking team, let the timer go to 0, or defuse the spike before the time runs out. As attackers, the spike is super important, and I see too many players not using it correctly to maximize its potential. Where you plant the spike could mean the difference to either winning or losing a game. For an example, on the map Split, I see too many players planting the spike behind this wall. The spot isn't too bad, but you are easily able to be killed by enemy players wallbanging you. One of the best places to plant the spike is actually in front of the wall near the stairs. This position makes it so you can play up in the window, making it easy to hold when you hear defusing. Another great spot you can do on the same map is on the other side, on B site. By getting to the edge of the site, you can actually plant the spike here and then being able to hold the tunnels, where you can easily kill someone when they're trying to defuse the spike. On the flip side, defusing the spike can be one of the hardest and most stressful situations in Valorant. One great thing about defusing the spike is that it has two phases. Once you reach the halfway point, you can stop defusing and it will keep the progress. Another big thing is something called fake defusing. I see too many players doing this wrong, and why explain it when I can show you? When fake defusing, you must walk, or else you're gonna give yourself away. And for the love of God, when your teammate is defusing, please cover them. Sometimes you have to trust your teammate and immediately hop on the defuse, and if you trust your teammate, they'll hopefully pull through. There's no way.
Yes!
Has this ever happened to you?
Wow, you really suck.
How did they know you were there? Well, they had something that most human beings have. Ears. Tactical shooters have a high emphasis on sound, and let me tell you, Valorant is no different. Since the maps are so small, sound is a huge giveaway to where a player's position is. If you look at your minimap, there is a circle around you that shows where people can hear your footsteps. You can't hear this, right?
No.
But as soon as I get right here...
Yeah.
Yep. Also, when a loud sound goes off near you, a little indicator goes off in your HUD showing you where it came from. So let me ask you guys, why are you running so much? Pressing the shift button isn't too hard, and it'll make your flank so much better. Trust me, it gets super frustrating when your teammate keeps running and completely ignoring your calls to quiet down, giving your position away. Okay.
Oh, looks like we don't have any A presence.
Bro, she... Okay.
Oh! You meant...
Oh, someone on B. Oh my god. Bro, okay, that's fine. Okay, yeah, there we go. Thank god. Now we don't have to deal with noise. Also, let me tell you that paying attention to sound will make you 100% a better player. If you're listening to music while playing, maybe turn it off, yeah? By the way, there are things that produce sound that you may not be aware of. So here's a small list of things that you may not know that give away your position.
Headshot.
You can hear this?
No. Alright, swing. Yeah, I can hear that. Heaven.
Headshot.
Oh my god! Wow, the weapons in Valorant are amazing. From the satisfying shot of the operator, got one, the Rudy Tooty revolver shooting of the sheriff, and the absolutely garbage shorty. Each gun has their own playstyle that they fit into, but some have some quirks that you might not know about. The classic, when using the alternate fire, shoots off 3 bullets in a small spread, like a small shotgun. The Bucky, when firing an alternate shot, fires a tight shot spread that is useful for medium engagements. When scoping down the Bulldog or Stinger, it does a burst fire instead of full auto. There is something interesting though. The debate between the Vandal and the Phantom. They cost the same, but they perform the same function, right?
Nope.
Most people think that the only difference is that the Phantom is silenced and has more bullets, but is that really all? Let me tell you one huge thing that you are missing. The Phantom has damage fall off. Now what does that mean? The farther the difference between you are from your target, the less damage your bullets will do. The Phantom and Vandal may have the same exact damage up close, but medium to long ranges, it's as clear as night and day what the difference is. Also, keep in mind that armor plays a part in whether a gun will insta-kill to the head, so heads up, or heads off in this case. What's up, dude? Communication is key, whether it be in your relationship with your spouse, hanging out with your dog, and most importantly, winning games in Valorant. It may come as a surprise, but using chat can be utilized to communicate with your team instead of harassing them. You can also just use your mic to talk to your teammates to give callouts to enemy positions and give directions. I'm trusting you. But not everyone can use their mic, and that's okay. Valorant has an excellent ping system that maybe people have either forgotten to use or didn't even know it existed. The default button for it is actually comma, but I would change it to a more reachable key for ease of access. Now I won't go over all the pings since you can do that in your own time, but know that you can use the map to point out specific places on your team. Press M to pull it up and you can click away showing where you want your teammates to look at or positions to watch out for. Trust me, your other teammates will thank you for it. Also, one of the great things, if one person starts communicating, other players will gain the courage to do it as well. So whether it be your mic, typing, or pinging, communication will win you games. Recoil control is a huge factor with how the guns work in Valorant. I see too many players spraying off bullets that miss their opponent entirely. No! In CSGO, you had to memorize elaborate patterns to perfectly control your recoil. But thankfully in Valorant, most guns have an easy way to compensate for the kick of the gun.
Nice run, man.
Oh my god.
First of all, make sure you keep this in mind. Up close, full auto is fine, but at a longer engagement, start firing your gun either taps or bursts. Not only will it make it easier to control your gun, but your accuracy will skyrocket. One of the best ways to figure out how to control your gun is to actually go to the shooting range in the practice tool. It's something a lot of players skipped over in the tutorial, but it's super helpful. I like to warm up my aim here before I go into real matches so my body is ready to play. Other than that, it's just gonna take practice to know how to fire a gun and control the recoil, but it will come in time. Just be sure not to panic spray, which will most likely get you killed. The abilities are a game changer in Valorant. They can mean the difference between winning or losing a round.
Let's go.
Understanding all the operator's abilities will not only make you better at using them, but know how to play around them. Here's an example that most players know about. Sage's Wall is one of the most impactful abilities in the game. It's quite annoying to deal with, but you can't deny it's impactful. When deployed, it can lift players up to a higher area, block off rotations, and provide cover for her teammates. In order to break the wall, you must shoot, knife, or use abilities to break through it, giving your position away. Now, to keep this list short, I'll be giving one cool tip about each of the character's abilities that'll give you the advantage in your game. I'll be going in alphabetical order, so if you want to see a certain character's abilities, go ahead and skip to it. But I highly recommend listening to all of them, because you never know, you could learn something. He's a hard operator to master, but is deadly in the right hands. When defending a spike or even trying to stop its plant, Breach can stop them using his Aftershock that will force them to move away, or his deadly Rolling Thunder that will knock them up, stopping their actions immediately.
Open up the sky!
His smokes are useful in providing cover for his teammates, but many look over the power of its Incendiary Launcher. Not only can it completely cut off an area for a good amount of time, but there are cool ways to fire this off that will catch your opponents off guard. Here's an example of a molly spot you can use in your game. A good Cypher is an absolute nuisance to deal with. His camera lets him surveillance over an area while his trapwire forces opponents to slow down and watch their step, or else they will trigger the trap, completely giving away their position, and potentially getting dazed if not dealt with in time. His ult is super deadly, but keep this in mind. When casting your ult, if you get killed, you won't get the benefit of knowing the enemy's position. Also, you cannot shoot the hat when it's on a corpse scanning someone. Please don't do this, you're simply giving away your position.
Hey, bro, watch your jet. Watch your jet, bro. Watch your jet!
The Mistress of Mobility and the Monster of a Fragger. Her Updraft and Tailwind can let her be in positions where opponents will least expect, but I'm here to talk about her ult. It's very difficult to use, but after you get a kill with it, you get all of your knives back. If you're confident in using this, you can actually just purchase armor and no guns relying on your ult as your weapon. A risky move, but the payoff is huge. He's a shadowy flanker that's definitely not Reaper that uses the shadows to lurk and frag his opponents. The trickiest thing about this character though is his ult, from the shadows. A cheeky strategy you can do with this ult is to hold onto the spike and let your team push your site, while you wait for them in a safe place. Once you feel like the enemy has rotated to where your team is distracting them to, you can ult to the opposite site and plant the spike. Phoenix is a character that complements players who like to push aggressively and entry frag for their team. Blaze is one of your best tools to not only cut off your opponents, but make a type of vision screen that your teammates can use to safely cross a deadly area. Make sure you always communicate when using your curveball, because not only does it blind enemies, it also blinds your teammates. Watch out.
Last one alive, lock the door! Incoming! Kaboom!
Raze is the explosive expert, and my goodness, her abilities pack a punch. Her Boombot can strike fear into anyone, while her grenades can absolutely decimate you. But here's the thing about that pesky Boombot. You don't have to shoot at it. Raze players often like to set out their Boombot to make sure the area they are pushing into is safe. The Boombot, however, has a very predictable path, and if it doesn't line up sight with you, it will not set off an alarm and Tokyo drift to you. If you let it pass and break on its own, Raze players will often confidently run through the area while you'll be ready to gun them down for a free kill. There are many more tips I can give you, and I'll happily make another video on each of the operators in the future. Let me know in the comment section below if you would like to see one. But for the sake of time, let's move on to the next section.
I need healing.
I know. This sounds dumb, and everyone knows this, but here's the thing. Many of you noobs think it's okay to play Lone Wolf. This is a team game, and the objective is how you win. Try to avoid doing things like pushing alone while holding the spike, trying just to pat your KDA and get more kills while abandoning your teammates, and not playing defensive while on defense. I've lost countless rounds when we have the enemy pinned down in an area and my teammates getting overconfident, running in instead of playing for time, which ends up in us losing.
When we have them pinned, I'm not sure why everyone's pushing.
Play the objective, you fool. Stop reloading immediately after a kill. Stop reloading immediately after a kill. Ow. Stop reloading immediately after a kill. Finally, the last tip to help you not be a noob in Valorant. This is honestly something that comes with time by just playing the game, but you can get a head start in knowing these things. Currently, there are 3 maps for Valorant: Bind, Haven, and Split. All of these maps offer different strategies and callouts that players must learn. Learning callouts has been made easier with your location appearing on your minimap, showing where you are. As you learn these locations, it will become second nature, allowing you to start predicting where enemies are holding and giving accurate directions to your teammates. Keeping this in mind, there are special things that each map offers, but I want to touch upon Bind's infamous teleporters. The teleporters offer players the ability to rotate around the map with the sacrifice of giving away your position due to its loud noise. But the teleporters don't just transport players, they transport anything. As Riz, if you know that enemies are inside this building, here is a little trick that will definitely surprise them. You can throw your grenade through the door and it will pop out the other side, giving the enemy little to no time to react when it goes through. If you're feeling extra bold, you can fire off a terrifying showstopper rocket through the teleporter, decimating anyone caught in the blast.
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Another thing is that Sage can simply wall off one side of the teleporter, trapping anyone unlucky enough inside the room. This makes them easy pickings for a Sova to fire their ultimate in the chamber, taking them out. Well, that's gonna wrap up today's video on the top 10 new mistakes in Valorant. If you learned something, please give this video a like and subscribe to see more content. There are so many more things that I probably missed, so please let me know in the comments other tips that new players make. I might even make a second video on new information if I get enough people to comment. Ranked has also been finally released, so I hope your climb to the top goes well. With that said, I'm Wolfscratch, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of the day. Happy fragging.
Nice, Ronnie. Let's go.
You gotta shift your position after you gun one down.